Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name is Mike Amos and we're coming to you from our studios on South Grundy Street in Troy, Alabama. And I hope that you enjoy our show today. Going out to the billions, they say 2 billion people are subscribed to Facebook. Well, we're live on Facebook this morning and hope that you're doing well on a Monday as we start a new week. And of course, basketball, and more basketball. If you've been watching the tournament, it's been a lot of fun. A lot of teams have come in there and upset other teams, and it's just been a fun tournament to watch. And of course, the weather has been very conducive for outdoor activities, and that means if you're playing golf or if you're going fishing. And, of course, for all you lucky folks in the Troy public school system, it's AEA holidays, or the old AEA holiday, they call it spring break. And, hey, to you, I hope you have a great spring break. And you're taking your kids somewhere that will be something that will be a memory that they'll keep for the rest of their lives. I remember this time of year going to South Florida to the spring training and how much fun it was. And I remember we were down there one Easter, and they hid eggs in the playing field. I want to say it was the Mets or somebody that was Philadelphia, might have been Philadelphia. And they had a big Easter egg hunt. And I turned around, there my son was, and Richard Calhoun and Blake Crow out there picking up eggs. And they were probably about 12, 13 years old, but they had a good time. But those are memories that will last for a long time, and that's what we're talking about today. Your fond memories of long ago. And something that your children will always remember. And I remember one time going to Disney World. I thought I was going to be real smart and put one of these, back in the day, these boxes that you put on top of your car. And of course you put all your luggage in it, and it was supposed to give you all the luggage, and that meant you had plenty of room inside. Well, I think we were about 100 miles down the road, maybe around, somewhere in the neighborhood we're Gainesville, around Gainesville somewhere. I noticed that people that were passing me were blowing their horn and waving at me, and I was thinking what a friendly bunch of people they were down there. Well, what had happened was all my clothes started blowing out of my container on top of my car. And when I finally realized that what had happened, I started reversing myself. And on the interstate, I was walking across the interstate, picking up some of my clothes so we'd have clothes once we got to Disney World. Well, that is a true statement now. And, of course, it was one of these inexpensive containers. Mike, I'm telling a story about one of our trips to Disney World, and we put all our clothes in this box up on top of the car. You remember that?
Oh yeah, and it came off.
Yeah, and the clothes started blowing out, and we were wondering why people were honking the horn and waving at us.
Yeah, it was kind of like a real-life Griswold
moment.
Yeah,
the Griswold. A lot of people call me Griswold, my family does, because I'm always taking the wrong direction. One time I went over the Huey P. Long Bridge in New Orleans 3 different times before I got it right. And that was a scary bridge. You remember that big bridge?
Oh, yeah, that is an awful bridge.
Oh, it was scary. And hey, I went across it 3 times before I got out of it. Mike Amos calling in from, where you calling in from this morning?
Beautiful Graden Beach, Florida. It's been absolutely beautiful down here for about 10 days. It's been about 71 and a little bit of a breeze and sunny, and just absolutely perfect weather. But I tell you what, we went to a grocery store yesterday on 98 to get some groceries for the week, and I would say there was about 2,000 people in there. I mean, I think this is like really the official start of spring break. I know Birmingham's spring break is now. And
well, let me ask you this: the people going in
big cities in Montgomery, but it's like all these cars from Tennessee and Kentucky.
Illinois and Michigan,
and Illinois, Wisconsin. I mean, it's just like, this place is just like so many people everywhere. I mean, I knew a lot of people came down here, but to actually be living down here, I guess now for over a couple of weeks and seeing how many people, it's just been unbelievable.
Well, you got a grocery store just less than a mile from your house, don't you?
Well, we don't go to that one. You know, we go during the busy season.
You don't go to Publix.
You can't go to the one at Watercolor and Seaside, so we go to the one on 98. Probably about, I guess, 5 miles from our house.
The Publix is big.
I've got the Grain Beach Market that has a few things I can go to. They have like a little deli and food, and charge you about $5-6 for a gallon of milk. So Powerball down here is something everybody needs to go get on right now. Though it's $750 million right now.
Will you buy me about 5 today, if you will?
You know, I got two for 5. Or 2 out of the 6 the other day, and that was like $7. So at least I won something off the Powerball.
Well, look, I'm serious. Go ahead and buy me 5 today, at least, and give me the double coverage or whatever, and I'll take care of it when I see you this weekend.
Yeah, well, it's definitely. I think the next drawing's on Wednesday. They're saying.
Well, that is huge. That's the most I've ever heard of it being.
I think it's the second most ever in history, they're saying.
Have they ever had a $1 billion raffle before? Have they ever had a $1 billion?
I don't think it's made $1 billion yet, but $750 million is pretty good.
Yeah. Auburn is on their way, Mike, to the Sweet 16, first time since 2003.
I'll tell you what, man, they really look good. I was watching that game against Kansas, and, I mean, if they shoot like that against anybody, they're going to win. I mean, Bryce Brown was unconscious, and then you had Jared Harper, making a lot of shots, and then McCormick had his best game. The backup point guard scored 16 points, I think, and then you had McLemore, Okeke, all these guys were making threes. I mean, everybody on Auburn's team can shoot. And that's the difference between them and everybody else. Everybody's a scorer.
No question about it. And of course,
Auburn's got about 8 or 9 guys that can score. And Alabama had about maybe one guy that maybe could possibly score. I think that was the difference in those programs.
Isn't that pathetic?
Avery Johnson's officially been bought out, so Alabama now has a national search, and people were mentioning a name that, of course, the NCAA would be involved, and he's looking for a job, and it would be a hire that would be one of the biggest national hires you could make, but I don't know if the public relations of hiring Rick Pitino would be maybe a nightmare, but he is one of the best coaches out there, and that name has been brought up.
Let me tell you a name I heard in Troy circles yesterday, Mike, and you'll remember this name well, Robbie Lang. He coaches at Florida, South Florida. I think he's coaching at South Florida. That's just a name that came out. I mean, the guy that gave it to me, doesn't know any more than I know.
He used to coach at Campbell, but didn't have very good teams. I would be shocked if he got the job.
He was the head coach at Campbell, and they had just started.
But I mean, he didn't really have great teams. I mean, Troy played him back then.
I know him. He grew up in Eufaula, played at Lakeside, and I've known him, for years. I'm thinking more somewhere in that Southern Miss, Delta State background of Jeremy McClain. I would think something's going to happen out of that. But I did read an article on the Dauphin Eagle this weekend because I've been wondering what's been going on about it. And because Cunningham was let go on March the 11th. And Jeremy McClain said that, he's had a lot of interest in the job, and they hope to make a decision here in the next week. They'd probably like to get this tournament over with, don't you think?
Well, I mean, that's what he said. They said that they don't have to wait to the national tournament.
Let's play with this.
Or to the Final Four.
Yeah, let's play with this a little bit. Let's play with it. All right, now he's got, and I hope he's watching this morning. But the spring break, he's probably gone. But Mike, let's throw a few names out there. Of course, with Southern Mississippi ties. One of them would be, well, who are the two guys that we know pretty well at Southern, coming out of Southern?
Well, you had a guy that ended up leaving Southern Miss to be the head coach of Tennessee, but then he got into NCAA violations. And then you had Stacy, who was considered one of the best basketball coaches in the country, but then he hits players.
Yeah, and
Burberly yells at players, so those two guys are out.
Yeah, Stacy and Coach Maestri were good friends, I remember. Who's the guy that coached at Tennessee that played?
I can't think of his name, but he got into NCAA trouble. So, but he was a really good coach at Southern Miss as well.
Yeah.
But
the coach at
the names I would look at, because they're looking at guys. He wants to have somebody that has Sun Belt experience or knows what it's like to coach at a non-Power 5, and then he's looking for somebody with previous head coaching experience. I mean, the guy I would look at maybe right now is John Pelfrey, maybe at Alabama. If he can have a job, you're looking at a guy that was former head coach at South Alabama, and then went on to Arkansas. Of course, he was one of the great players, at Kentucky. That's the name I'd possibly look at. I would look at maybe Mike Davis, who was at Indiana, and then the head coach of UAB that's at Texas Southern, and I think he's taken Texas Southern to 4 NCAA tournaments. He's a guy you might want to look at because, he's from Alabama. Philip Pearson, the former Alabama assistant for, 10 years under Mark Gothard, and then another 8 years at Georgia. He's from Montgomery, played at Jeff Davis High School. He's never been a head coach, but he's been he was an interim coach at Alabama for about, I think, 15 games.
Where is Pearson now, Mike? Do you know?
I don't know. Coach Fox lost his job at Georgia last year, so Pearson lost his job. I don't know if he's taking a year off or not. Another name, which I don't think will happen, but Ole Miss's former coach Andy Kennedy works for the SEC Network. He's, living in Birmingham now. I would think he might be locked in for that UAB job if it comes open soon.
I think he would be. He's been there before, hasn't he? Hadn't he coached there before?
Yeah, he was an All-American player at UAB for Bartow. Yeah.
How about Murray Bartow, Bartow's son?
I don't know about Bartow's son. He used to be the head coach of East Tennessee State. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I'm sure there's guys I'm not mentioning, but those are just some local names I know that would have interest in the Troy job. But who knows? Who knows where McLean's going?
Yeah. Mike, can you believe...
I think Alabama's down to, though. I mean, I think Alabama's down to Prom, the head coach of Iowa State. I think Pitino will get a look. And then I think they'll make a run at maybe one of these coaches like at Nevada, the Musselman guy, or maybe the guy that has done so well at what's the school? Utah State's coach is real popular right now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, whoever they pick, they better get some kids that can shoot. I know that's crazy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my brother-in-law, Phil for him, he's an Auburn grad. Merriman's, parents both went to UNC or North Carolina grads. And Merriman's a huge North Carolina fan, but surely he'll root for Auburn against North Carolina, won't he?
I tell you, Mike, I like Bruce Pearl coaching better than I like. They just did barely.
Everybody loves Bruce Pearl. I mean, he's a great coach. Yeah. Just he's had some off the field stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, North Carolina just barely. They won their game pretty big, but I was looking here, in Duke just did beat Central Florida. That's where Robbie Lane coaches at Central Florida. He's assistant coach there. And Central Florida got a guy named Zion Williamson that's 7'6". They call him Taco Fall at the end, and he scored. He made two last-ditch shots that rolled off the rim. They had a kid named Aubrey Dawkins. This kid from Duke. Is that right?
No, you got them all mixed up. Zion Williamson's a star player for Duke.
Okay.
Dawkins is a star player for Central Florida. His dad, Johnny Dawkins, the great Duke All-American's the head coach at Central Florida.
That's what I was leading at. His daddy was an all-time great at Duke, and he.
So how that game yesterday ended was just absolutely amazing. Duke is down, and Zion Williamson goes against the 7'6" guy and goes up and lays it in. So basically he's at the line, well, I think about 5-6 seconds left. You know, if he makes the free throw, they go, you know, possibly to overtime. So instead he misses. Duke gets the rebound, puts it back up, scores 2 points, goes up. So Central Florida's literally got like 6 or 7 seconds to win the game. Their top player goes and shoots the ball like within 5 feet, rattles right off the glass, looks like it's going in. And then Dawkins goes in for the tip-up. I mean, it looked like an absolute perfect tip from about 1 foot away, hits the glass, barely goes off the rim, and Duke wins the game.
Yeah, wasn't that unreal? That would have been a
huge... Two shots to win it all. And then LSU won at the buzzer as well. The SEC has got 4 teams in the Sweet 16. So
did Tennessee get beat?
Everybody was exactly right when they said the SEC is loaded this year.
Yeah. Did Tennessee get beat?
No, Tennessee was up by 26 yesterday. And unbelievably, Iowa comes all the way back, puts it in overtime, and then Tennessee just dominated Iowa in overtime. They had nothing left,
well,
and Tennessee won as well. So.
You're doing pretty good in your brackets, aren't you?
Yeah, Tennessee, Kentucky, Auburn. Who am I leaving out? And LSU in the Final Four. I've only got one team, not my Sweet 16.
Yeah, pretty good.
And that was I assume Oregon won last night. See, I didn't have Oregon winning even the first round game.
You know, I haven't watched much of any of his tax time.
Oh my goodness, it's been
wonderful.
You don't know anything. I've enjoyed it tremendously.
You don't even know. You don't know anything about having to do taxes.
Oh, I've done that.
Not like I have to do them. I have to go by every penny.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm gonna deduct everything I possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I've been in sales for a long time.
I wish you would look at Bruce Pearl's picture in the paper with his tongue sticking out. You know, we should have known that he was at Milwaukee, University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee.
When he was at Wisconsin, Milwaukee, you know, he beat Alabama, and then
he beat Alabama.
That's kind of how he became pretty famous as a coach.
That's right. And Auburn, when they got him, where'd they get him from?
He got fired from Tennessee because of NCAA sanctions.
Yeah.
Illegal recruiting.
But buddy, he had done a super job at Auburn, and they filled the gym.
The attendance is what's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got sellout crowds at Auburn Arena. Of course, you know they have an arena that holds 9,000 people, but. Yeah. I mean, Auburn's got a great basketball coach. There's no doubt about it.
Their program is really, really getting there too, and you know, he talks them out of going early to the pros, and you know, that's another big thing. You know, that's getting to be a big thing now.
He had 2 of his star players, Mustafa Heron, and another guy, Murray, were 2 of his top scorers, and they transferred.
Yeah.
Off that team last year.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So he could have had 2. He could have both of those guys back this year. It was scary.
No question about it. Well, we got let's take a look at the Sweet 16, Mike. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, I mentioned 4 SEC teams. Sorry, I'm dealing with a little baby that's wanting to play with a vacuum cleaner this morning.
Well, she's a sweetheart.
I'll have to go pick it up on the computer and look real quick, see who all's in.
Of course, we're checking brackets this morning, ladies and gentlemen, and well, I'm trying to find out how your team is faring and the brackets.
You saw the brackets on the set?
Yeah, we have them, and I've got it somewhere. This group was in here last night. Might have used it, but I'm not sure.
Big news in professional football. The great one has retired. Rob Gronkowski calls it a career after 9 years. A Hall of Fame career, I would say, with the New England Patriots. So Rob Gronkowski is going to retire at 29 years old.
Golly. You know, you sure he's not trying to get a big salary?
No, he's just had way too many injuries. Way too many injuries. It's definitely the right decision for Gronkowski.
Yeah, he's had a lot of head injuries, I know.
Well, I mean, he's had a lot of back injuries. His big issue.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Auburn can shoot the basketball, and now with Wiley back, they can rebound the basketball. Isn't that right?
Well, he didn't really play that much. He's really been a non-factor. You know, Wiley maybe plays 5-6 minutes a game, so Auburn can definitely win without Wiley. They've proven that. Kind of a sad thing, you know. The guy got, you know, Chuck Person basically got fired because he was giving Wiley's parents money, and he was getting money out of the deal, and you know, now he's going to prison, and you know, a lot of people thought Wiley might be a lottery pick. I don't know if Wiley will make it in the NBA one day. I mean, he might, but he definitely doesn't really fit into, you know, the up and down pace that Auburn plays in. I mean, he's good, you know, in like to get you maybe 6 points a game, but you know, we're talking about a guy that a lot of people thought was going to get, you know, 20 points a game and 10 rebounds a game.
All right, let's take a look at him, Mike. Duke end up with no problem over.
I've got the scores from yesterday.
All right. Well, I'm looking at them this morning, so I've got the results pretty much.
So you got the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I pretty much have them. Let's look at the East.
I've got it right here too. You got in the West region, you got Florida State against Gonzaga.
You're gonna start with the West first, okay?
That'll be a great matchup. And then you got in the South region, you got Purdue against Tennessee. In the West region, you got Texas Tech against Michigan, and you got Oregon against Virginia. And then on, let's see, Friday, you'll have LSU against Michigan State in the East region. You'll have Auburn against North Carolina in the Midwest region. And then you'll have Virginia Tech against Duke. Of course, they played each other several times already this year in the East region. And then you'll have Houston against Kentucky in the Midwest region.
So Houston did make it, and that was one of my dark horses.
Houston won last night. Auburn will play at 6:30 Central Time on Friday against North Carolina.
Boy, that's going to be a great game. 6:30 on Friday.
That is going to be a great game.
6:30 on Friday, and then you've got down in your lower bracket here, you've got Kentucky playing. Who they end up playing? Who won that game last night?
Kentucky's going to play Houston.
All right, Houston. You know, right? I had Houston. I think I had them on Final Four. I'm not sure, but Houston.
Yeah, Will Matthews' beloved
Buffalo got beat. Who beat them?
They got blown out by somebody.
Florida
Texas
State.
Tech blew them out.
No, Florida State.
All right, here's your wrap up from the weekend. You had Gonzaga. They beat Baylor 83-71. Michigan State beat Minnesota 70-50. Kentucky struggled mildly. Their top player, P.J. Washington, has not played in the tournament. He's got a walking boot on, so I don't know if he's going to come back or not. But they beat the Wofford Terriers 62-56. Michigan won 64-49 over Florida.
You know what? They're playing real good right now. Michigan is.
Yeah, they've been good all season. Then Florida State destroyed Murray State 90-62. LSU won at the buzzer 69-67. And then Purdue beat Villanova, blew Villanova out. This game, I think, is the one I lost. I was shocked because I had Villanova going to Sweet 16. They're the defending national champions. They got beat 87-61. And then Auburn beat Kansas 89-75.
Boy, oh boy. I noticed in that game, I watched some of that Villanova game. Villanova had only 24 points with about 13 minutes left to go in the game.
And then yesterday we had, Duke won by 77-76 over UCF. Virginia beat Oklahoma 63-51. North Carolina won 81-59 over Washington. Tennessee won 83-77 over Iowa. Texas Tech destroyed Buffalo by 20, 78-58. Houston won big, 74-59 over Ohio State. And then this was the biggest upset of the weekend, I thought, other than UCI, University of California, Irvine. But Virginia Tech beat Liberty 67-58. Liberty upset Mississippi State, which was a very talented Mississippi State team. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then Oregon, who's playing phenomenal, they won the Pac-12 tournament. That's the only way they got in. They won 2 games, and they beat the upset-minded UCI, which is University of California, Irvine, who had one of the biggest upsets of the tournament by beating Kansas State. So that's the games from Saturday and Sunday right there.
All right, looking at them again, we've got Duke against Virginia Tech, LSU against Michigan State. There comes Michigan State and their great coach. He is the best coach probably in America. Izzo is. What do you think?
He's definitely one of the best. There's no doubt about it.
And he is, boy, when tournament time comes, he is tough. Gonzaga and Florida State. I still got Gonzaga in my Final Four, Mike. Gonzaga. I got that hat.
I've got Florida State beating Gonzaga.
I bet I'm the only guy in this town that can produce a Gonzaga hat. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think I got it for you.
Yeah. All right, Gonzaga and Florida State's going to probably be the best game of the bunch, wouldn't you think?
Probably. I think North Carolina Auburn might be the best game of the bunch.
They're going to play on Thursday, and you know, Auburn. Another great thing about winning, they got a break. They don't have to play till Friday, and they got plenty of time to rest and so forth. So Duke, Virginia Tech, and LSU and Michigan State in that region. Boy, it's going to come down to Duke and Michigan State, looks like to me.
Well, I mean, I still got Duke playing North Carolina for it all. I mean, so I think North Carolina will beat Auburn. I think it'll be a real close game.
Well, all right, I'm taking Duke over Michigan State in a close one. Then we got to look at LSU and no, that's not it.
LSU's playing Michigan State.
Yeah, I know. They're playing, excuse me, that's right. Michigan State's going to beat them. And then it'll come down. All right. Now Gonzaga.
Well, we just need to pick the games for Thursday and Friday.
That's what I'm doing. I'm taking Gonzaga over Florida State.
We've already done our brackets. We've already picked our champions. I don't know where the sheets are.
Yeah. You don't have your seat?
No, I don't have mine.
Well, I know the ones that I picked. I picked Gonzaga. I took Gonzaga all the way to the Final Four. And Florida State's got a real good team, though, no question about it. They just walloped a good Murray State team. And what they did, they just covered that great offensive player, Mike, and just didn't give him a chance to shoot the ball.
Yeah, Morant.
Yeah, but he is probably the best player in America, wouldn't you say?
He's really good. I tell you what, that Williamson kid from Duke's unbelievable. He scored 32.
Is the kid from Murray, is he a senior, or do you think he'll be leaving?
No, he's just a sophomore. Yeah, he's gone.
Oh, he is gone. You got to play 2 years of college basketball, is that right?
Yeah, you only got to play one.
What, just one?
Yeah, that's why these guys are forced. You know, Zion Williamson and Duke's got three guys that could have gone straight to the NBA, but they have to play 1 year.
Okay, Gonzaga and
just like Alabama had Sexton, and Sexton was forced to play 1 year at Alabama, and he's averaged, I think, the last 10 games with the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's averaging 26 a game.
Yeah, I've got Gonzaga going up against Michigan in the Elite Eight, Mike. Is that what that would be, the Elite Eight?
Yeah, I've got Florida State beating Gonzaga.
Yeah, or would that be the Final Four? Yeah, that's right. Okay. But that would put Michigan and Texas Tech in the same bracket, Gonzaga and Florida State in the same bracket, if it goes the way I'm looking at it. LSU and Michigan State and Duke is probably going to be in the same bracket. So that's what I'm doing right there. I'm going to take Michigan, and I'm in that game that will take them to the Final Four. Over in the South region, Mike, Virginia's been awfully quiet. They're 30-3. Are they that good?
Yeah, I mean, they won the ACC regular season title.
All right, did they beat Oklahoma?
They got beat by. They were getting beat by Gardner Webb by 14 in the first half, and everybody thought it was going to be another 16-1 and upset.
Yeah. Didn't Oklahoma beat them?
No, I already gave you these. Virginia's in the Sweet 16.
Okay. And Oregon won their game. That's the one I didn't know about. Oregon ended up winning their ball game with Cal Irvine. Irvine was going to be the sleeper, but they got beat, didn't they?
Well, upset of the tournament, beating Kansas State.
Purdue always has good basketball, Mike. You got to always look at them, and they'll go up against Tennessee. That's a real evenly matched game, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, in my opinion, just going down, I've got Duke beating Virginia Tech. I got Michigan State beating LSU. I've got Florida State beating Gonzaga. I got Michigan beating Texas Tech. I've got Virginia beating Oregon. I got Tennessee beating Purdue. I got North Carolina beating Auburn, and I got Kentucky beating Houston. I'm
gonna pick Purdue in an upset over Tennessee. I think on my bracket.
Purdue had a guy that scored 42 against Villanova.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Purdue did. Is that big tall guy?
No, he's been gone.
Yeah. Okay.
Big tall guy was from Alabama.
Yeah. North Carolina and Auburn is going to be a huge game, and I just think Auburn is the gods are with Auburn. What do you think?
I don't know. They were maybe the luckiest team I've ever seen in the world to win the game the other day against Mexico State. Auburn is literally turning the ball over left and right. Mexico State's got a sure layup. All they got to do is hit the layup. They go to overtime. Instead, the guy kicks the ball back.
I saw it.
And makes a pass, and the guy shoots a three, gets fouled. Yeah. So if he goes to the line and makes all three of the free throws, the game's over. But instead, he misses two of them. Ball bounces off. Auburn can't get the rebound. They knock the rebound out of bounds. So New Mexico State gets the ball on the inbounds play. Great call. Guy is wide open from the three. I'm talking about it would have been like a practice warm-up three. And doesn't even hit the rim, and Auburn advances.
Yeah,
and then you see what they do against Kansas.
I saw that, no question about it. That's the way it happens usually. Somebody runs in and just barely beats somebody, then they blow out the team that they play next.
Yeah, that'll probably happen with Duke barely surviving Central Florida.
Yeah. Not long ago, Troy used to play Central Florida every year. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. They had a great player. I can't remember. He beat Troy in the Sun Belt, or not the Sun Belt, the Atlantic Sun tournament up in Nashville. And they made it to the NCAA tournament.
I tell you, one of the worst defeats I've ever saw Troy make or gotten beat was down there in the playoffs. Troy had beaten them both times in the regular season, and they were playing in the playoffs at their gym at Central. Of course, they're out of that gym now. You remember when they had both ends had a wall on both ends.
Yeah, a little tiny gym.
Yeah, one a good gym and all, and they beat us down there, and we were expected to win it all and move forward, and we didn't do it. It was a tough loss in that tournament at the time. We're looking at the brackets right now.
Central Florida and Troy are very similar programs altogether. Central Florida went from Division II all the way to 1A, and then Troy has done the same thing.
Somebody says they got over 50,000 students at Central Florida now. One of the largest schools in the country.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Of course, we're all right. The sleeper.
Big win for Troy baseball yesterday. I was really proud of Coach Smart and Troy getting that win yesterday. They had played the 14th ranked team in the country, Coastal Carolina, straight up for two straight games, and
the game before
finally got the win yesterday. They were looking at 0-6. To start the Sun Belt season, which is unheard of for Troy baseball, and got a huge win yesterday. Some freshman kid hit a grand slam for Troy.
Well, I'll tell you this, they also got some great pitching. The day before, they lost on a walk-off home run in the last inning.
How many times is Troy going to lose on walk-off home runs this year?
Let me tell you, they're getting great pitching right now from their two main relief pitchers. One of them is Corey Gill, and the other one is our guy from out here, Banks.
Yeah, Ross Hickson.
Ross Hickson is really pitching well. They say when his slider's working, he's as tough to beat as anybody. And but right now he's playing real well.
What is it, Rush Hickson?
Yeah, Rush Hickson. That's right. Ross is his brother.
The star of the day was Logan Century had a grand slam. Drew Frederick also had a 2-run home run for Troy.
Yeah, he's a good player. That kid. He had a grand slam home run.
Yeah, Logan Century, CER.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Is he the center fielder?
I think he's an outfielder.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, Coach March said, "I'm really happy for our team. We fought like crazy all weekend. We finally got one. All you can ever ask for your players is to give their all every time out, and our team did that. And finally got rewarded for their efforts."
What was the score in the first game, Mike? Do you know?
I'll have to look on the schedule real quick. I can tell you.
Of course,
that's a big win. Even if Troy had a great team, I mean, just getting one against a ranked team during the weekend is good.
At their place, you're right. Mike, Casey proved that he could win the big one yesterday. I like him.
I'm happy for Casey. He's actually won a couple the last year or so.
He might
2 years. I mean,
he might be the best ball striker out there. He
really plays a tough course as well.
And another thing about him, he's a real good person. They say he's one of the nicest people on the tour, and I'm happy for him, even though he is from another land. He's from another land, Mike.
Well, he's from England. I think I'm got a little English in me.
Yeah.
Troy got the first game. Got beat on the first game 4-2 on Friday night, and then they lost on Saturday 9-7.
It was 2 strikes and 2 outs, Mike, and the guy hit a home run.
Yeah, Levi, Troy's top pitcher, struck out 9 on Friday night.
Oh man.
Was it Levi Thomas?
Right now, and all right, let's look at Troy's lineup.
Levi Thomas.
Thomas, is going to be a regular. And who's your second pitcher?
I don't know. I think they're going back and forth on trying to find that second and third guy.
I think they're fixing to start using Gill as a starter. And then they've got this kid that plays first base when he's not pitching, Mike. What's that kid's name? Pretty good hitter.
I think his name's Sadler Goodwin.
Yeah, Sadler Goodwin, I think, is the other guy. They must like him. They pitched him yesterday, I think. And you got Thomas, Gill, and Goodwin. And then now that means that you got to find another guy in the bullpen. Hickson is one guy you can count on. And then the kid from Dothan's a real good pitcher, Mike. Oh, gosh, he pitches all the time, and I can't remember his name. But Troy, Mike, and their pitching's starting to turn around a little bit. I'm getting where I sort of like this Troy team, Mike. This Mercer kid has really added a lot to Troy, and he's helped them with the bat. And believe it or not, our little second baseman is starting to play well, starting to hit the ball, and what they've done, they've moved people around. In fact, they've had the second baseman now is playing third base, and they're moving some people around. I tell you, don't ever cut Mark Smart short. He's a very smart, very seasoned coach. Who is this guy that won? Of course, Casey wins $1.2 million yesterday in the Valspar Championships, and that's a pretty good lick, $1.2 million. Who is this this Kokrak? Who is he, Mike? Hello. If I lost Mike Amos, I might have.
Hey, I got you.
Okay. Who is this kid that plays second in that golf tournament? Kokrak. Who is he?
He's just a journeyman. He's been playing for years. He's one of the longest drivers on tour.
Is he an American?
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that.
Troy starts Rigsby Mosley at leadoff, and then Dalton, I guess, Swinglfield. Drew Frederick at short.
Now Mosley's been hurt. Is he back? Is he back now?
I'm not sure. Sadler Goodwin plays first. Chase Smart at catcher. Cole Prestegard at DH.
And he's got some pop.
And then they got the Logan Century kid, Early Manning at third.
Yeah, they moved him to third.
Austin Grafalio at second base.
Oh, and so they moved the shortstop to third. I mean the second. He was playing shortstop, and now they put Frederick.
Now it's Drew Frederick.
That's right. They moved Frederick to short, and now they got
Manning early.
All right.
To third.
And that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid, especially if the kid that's playing second base can come around with his bat a little bit.
The kid playing second base is named Donovan Wibbs.
Yeah. And, it's good when things are not working. I tell you, Coach Smart is one of the best at moving people around. And also, if things are not working well, he'll move his son, who is a very good third baseman, moving third baseman, bring that catcher in and give a catcher the designated hitter slot, and makes them pretty strong. They're coming along. They're coming along pretty good. I think they're going to play well in the back end of this schedule.
Yeah, pitching for Troy, you got Levi Thomas is 3-2 with 4.36 ERA. Sadler Goodwin's 1-3 with 6.84.
6.84. All right, so he's one of the starters.
Rush is 1-1 with 2.45 ERA. Lance Johnson has a 2.70 ERA.
That's what I was thinking about.
Ron Foltz.
That's what I was thinking about Johnson.
With a 4.70. Corey Gill is 1-1 with a 5.03. Max Newton is 1-3 with 5.30. Grant Stewart is 2-1 with a 5.85. And then on down the road, you got Christian Smith, 6.75. Taylor Prignan, 7.84. Zach Moore, 8.10. Zach Lightly, 12.0.
And he's my buddy. Lacey's my buddy.
Okay.
He's a good guy.
He only appeared in 5 games.
I tell you what, they got a bunch of pitchers, though. They got probably 10 or 15
leading Troy so far at the plate is Rigsby Mosley. He's hitting 392. Dalton.
392?
Yeah, 392. I don't know how you said his last name. Squinfield.
Yeah.
342. Sadler Goodwin's hitting 319. Drew Frederick's hitting 305. Hunter Mercer, 292. Chase Smart's hitting 286. Chase
is starting to come around. I think this team is coming around. They got a big series this weekend with New Orleans, Louisiana Lafayette, and that'll be a big one if we could get hot and beat those guys about 3 times. So Troy baseball is still a very good product to go watch, and now I think they don't have a midweek game this week. I think they're going to.
Yeah, that's correct.
So let's give them a lot of batting practice.
Says the most popular names being discussed for the early search for Alabama. I'll have to look at that article.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it. Of course, we've got Troy looking for a coach. And again, if any of them are watching today, I think the world of that staff. They're some of the finest people. They were so much fun to be around. If I ever asked them to come on our show, or if I ever asked them to do something for me, they always did it. They're just as nice of people, class guys, and I hope they end up going somewhere. In fact, it tickled me if the new coach they hire would keep a couple of those guys.
You know, they're mentioning now that whoever gets the Alabama job, that a lot of people are saying that they want them to hire Bucky McMillan, the great Mountain Brook coach, as one of the assistants. 35 years old. I don't know if McMillan wants to be an assistant coach. He probably wants to be his own guy.
Oh, you're exactly right. I mentioned
that would guarantee Wofford though probably coming to Alabama if McMillan went as assistant.
Hey, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. I will say this about Matt Millen. I don't think there's any question that the guy at Auburn's a pretty good coach, but there's no question other than that, high school or college, with maybe exception of our guy at Auburn, he's the best basketball coach in Alabama, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
Bucky McMillan, here it is. I said something to the AD about him the other day, and he acted like said, who is he? Who is he? Well, he's probably the best basketball coach in Alabama. You don't win 5 out of your last 7 state championships in the big boy league, and that's 7A. You don't do that if you're not a good coach.
Well, I mean, he's also had the benefit of recruiting in some really good talent to Mountain Brook as well.
But now
that's really helped.
But Mountain Brook, everybody gets this wrong a lot. Mountain Brook is a public school. Hoover is a public school.
Vestavia is a public school.
Vestavia is a public school. Spain Park is a public school. I could go on and on and on. They just play good ball, Mike. They really all have good athletic programs. You know, the pitcher for Troy is from Alabaster, Mike, and with a great high school pitcher. Johnson. Talking about Johnson. Talking about Johnson, this relief pitcher that's so good for Troy.
Yeah, he played at Thompson.
Yeah, played at Thompson. You know, great program, 7A program, and you know, that's why I feel so sorry for Enterprise. You take Enterprise, they're 7A, and they're the only 7A in South Alabama other than the Mobile schools, and not many of them are 7A anymore. It makes the Enterprise really have to compete. Don't you agree?
There's no doubt. Of course, that's going to help with Dothan going 7A.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing is that Enterprise got a fine young coach. Yeah, I don't know if he's yet in the same classification with Bucky McMillan, but this Harrelson kid is a great coach at Enterprise, and they had a good team this year. They got to get coming back that one of this kid had committed to this Troy staff, but I don't know what he's going to do now. But I hope they can keep him because he's a good 3-point shooter. About 6'5".
Names mentioned for the Alabama job are Steve Prom out of Iowa State, Fred Holberg, who was the former Iowa State Chicago Bulls coach, Kevin Sampson, or Kelvin Sampson, the head coach at Houston. Of course, he was at Indiana, at Washington State, Oklahoma. He's been everywhere.
Oh yeah.
He's had some NCAA issues. Greg Marshall, the Wichita State coach. Mick Cronin, who's been at Cincinnati for several years, Frank Martin, the South Carolina coach, Andy Kennedy, Rick Bettino. These are just some of the names.
I'm gonna tell you what. I don't like Kennedy. I don't like his demeanor. You know, he's a.
Well, he would. He won't go to Alabama.
But, I mean, what I'm saying, he'll go. He's not a bad coach. His record's not bad.
Yeah, he'll be at UAB. I'd say in a year if UAB's coach doesn't make the NCAA tournament.
You know what they ought to do? They ought to get on the phone and call Wimp and say, Wimp, who should we hire?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Now talking about Troy.
If Wimp was not 80 and 70, I wouldn't mind Wimp coming back and being the coach.
You know what? You'd have 7,000 screaming fans that would be for him, and 7,000 that would be against him. But you're exactly right. All of Birmingham would be for him, wouldn't they?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Alabama program.
I mean, I'll say this. I mean, Alabama's got to do something with that big gym. I mean, it's great. They sell out for Kentucky, and they sell out for gymnastics all the time, but they need to gut that gym out, which they're talking about doing, and just getting it down to like around 12,000 instead of the 15,000.
And what he's saying, there's a real
and get the bleachers closer to the court. They need more of a basketball arena, kind of like what Auburn has, you know, where the students get involved.
People laughed at Auburn from going from 13,000 to 9,000, but it's turned out to be the right thing to do.
Oh yeah, you can't get in there. It's like you know, Cameron Indoor. A lot of people don't realize it's 9,000, but of course they sell out every game.
But buddy, it's a demand. It's a demand, and like Don Maestri always said this. He says a full gym is a full gym. So if you fill it up, you're gonna get a lot of advantage there with your crowd. The thing he's talking about with Alabama, there's a nosebleed area at Alabama. You get up there, way up there, it is a nosebleed. And, you know, they've had it, and it's been there a long time. And, you know, I would think it's been there as long as the Trojan Arena's been there, don't you think? I mean, the old.
I think Sartain. I think Coleman goes back to the early '60s.
Sartain was the early '60s, so they were built about the same time. And of course, they tore down Sartain. If you had walked in Sartain, Mike, and looked right and said, "Darn, this is a good-looking gym," wouldn't you?
The worst thing about Sartain, though, is they left those ugly windows outside.
Yeah,
that just
that's
made
right.
it look like a high school
gym.
gym. I don't know why they never replaced those windows.
You're exactly right. And then when they'd have these heavy attendants, Mike, there were the kind of windows that could open up and people would crawl in those windows. You remember that?
Oh, I know, yeah.
I can remember one game where the fire marshal, everybody talks about the fire marshal, but you don't ever see a fire marshal, but you hear them say, "Oh, the fire marshal will get him." Well, when that tournament came around and those high school teams like Jeff Davis and Dothan and Phoenix City and Lanier and some of those great programs played each other, hey, ladies and gentlemen, there would be no seats available, and they would actually have to call the fire marshal in and shut the doors and not let anybody out or in, nobody in, and they would make sure that the ones who went out didn't come back in with a bunch of people. So, but it was a great gym. I saw a lot of wonderful basketball games, and I sat on the front row. You couldn't ask for a better seat than I had in that gym. Don't you agree?
There's no doubt.
And but again, it's gone now. That brand new, beautiful facility is being built, and we're excited about it. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, are you tired of spending hard-earned money on a gas grill only to have it burn up in less than 2 years? Not to mention burning your food. Here at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, we carry the Holland Grill line. They've been around since 1988, and there are people right here in Troy that have had theirs for over 20 years. These grills are guaranteed not to flare up. You can grill, steam, or smoke on your new Holland Grill today. Come see us at Southern Grill and Patio in Troy, Alabama, inside Town & Country Flooring Center.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office.
When you are handed the key to a new Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick or GMC, rev up your imagination. Think of all the places you can go in some of the most stylish, best quality cars available on the market today. Feel confident driving vehicles with superb dependability and safety ratings. And smile. You saved a ton of money because you bought at Bill Jackson. Let the only thing holding you back be the end of the road. A Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC vehicle will not only change your life, it saves you money like nowhere else.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
He was a great one. Back to our show, Mike. Mike Amos calling in from Grayton Beach, Florida. Mike, tell us a little bit about when we're going to have our T-Day and A-Day games.
I want to say Alabama and Troy both play on the same day. I want to say they both play on the 20th.
That's right. Troy's on the 20th. And people, if you march your...
Of course, Alabama will be on television.
And they've already come up with a time, too. Troy's game's going to be at 11 o'clock. T-Day game's going to be at 11 o'clock. And it's going to be on the 20th of April. And then also another date you need to put on your calendar is the 13th, is the Hall of Fame. And one of our all-time greats, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm just tickled pink that he's going in, Mike. You want these local guys or guys you've known and you watched. Talking about John Fairclough. John Fairclough not only was a great player, was an imposing player, one of the toughest individuals you'll ever find anywhere, but also was an outstanding coach and an outstanding administrator. You know, he headed up the Alabama Independent Schools for over 20 years and did a fabulous job. And, of course, I mean, he made it what it is today, a solid place. You know, wouldn't you say Pike Liberal Arts would be a solid place to go to school?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it definitely is now.
No question about it. And, of course, he is one of and also, Mike, out of all the quarterbacks out there, and there are a bunch of them out there, who do you think deserve to be the next in line for the Hall of Fame?
You talking about Brock Nutter?
Yes, sir. The great Brock Nutter, Hoover High School's Brock Nutter.
Yeah, he's the only quarterback that ever played at Troy and had gray hair.
Yeah, he sure did. And I'll tell you something about Brock. I saw him as a freshman, and I said, that guy's going to be a good one. And he started 4 years at Troy as a freshman. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah. I watched every game he played in, probably.
But the game that stands out to me more than any of them.
Always be Mississippi State.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When Troy beat Mississippi State at Mississippi State's homecoming, Brock Nutter had the ball, I think it was with 6 or 8 minutes left, and they froze the ball. I mean, that's exactly what they did. They would run and get 3 yards, and then he'd run around and run around and run around and either pass it or run and get enough yardage for a first down. I think he killed almost 6 minutes off the clock at the end of that ball game, and Troy won it. And, of course... I
tell you what, if there's ever an opportunity to make some money, I think if they would put that game out on a video or a DVD or something for Troy fans to watch, because that was one of the most... I think I've never been more worried or just...
Yeah, oh, yeah, me too.
More game to be over with in my life, because the clock didn't work because of the lightning storm.
I know,
so
and let me tell you...
No way to tell how much time was left in the game. The only people that had any clue were the officials.
And they were SEC officials. They were SEC officials, and the last thing...
They had their star quarterback that played for them in that game. That Wayne Mackin guy was a great player.
Oh, yeah, he sure was.
He was a quarterback on that team. I mean, Troy beat a really talented Mississippi State team.
And you know who their defensive coordinator was, don't you?
The defense coordinator was Jim Tompkins?
No, not Tompkins, but it was
Joe Lee Dunn.
Joe Lee Dunn was their defensive coordinator, and but I've never seen. Now it was DeMontre Carter's greatest game of all time.
Yeah, DeMontre Carter, and then you had Rayshawn Reed, who intercepted the ball and went about 70 yards for a touchdown too.
Yeah, but I remember. Carter, I think...
Rayshawn Reed's a name that should go in the Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah, and I haven't heard from him or thought about him in a long time. DeMontre Carter should go to the Hall of Fame. While we're talking about these guys, let's go over some players that came to Troy as a transfer that made a big hit. DeMontre Carter was one of the all-time greats, wouldn't you say?
I mean, Ted Yarbrough was a great transfer.
All right, let's do it pretty quick.
Orlando Parker transferred in. Davern Williams transferred in.
And Davern's on our staff now. Did you know that, Mike?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
All right, well, let's do it slower.
I need to talk about that as well. Troy's it's officially... the coaches, they hired the coaches, but they didn't really give their titles. So I have the titles for everybody today if you want to hear that.
Okay, all right, okay. But then I want us to come back and I want us to name some of the players that were transfers that had an impact. How about the great receiver out of Lanier High School and played a transfer from Auburn? Mike, you know who I'm talking about?
I thought I already mentioned Orlando Parker.
Orlando Parker. Yeah, you were too fast.
I thought Orlando Parker played Jeff Davis.
Oh, he did. All right, then Jeff Davis, and then he played at Auburn and came here. Who are some other guys?
Well, I mean, you had the Mookie Moore guy transferred in from Alabama. That was a good player at tackle. Kerry Jenkins. To be the greatest offensive lineman ever to transfer. He transferred in from LSU.
That's right.
And was All-American at Troy and then played 10 years in the NFL.
That's right. How about our running back from Tennessee from Enterprise, Mike? You remember him?
Yeah, Stephen Kelly.
Stephen Kelly. Boy, you got a memory that won't wait. You got a memory. Your memory reminds me of Mike Amos that used to have a television show.
Yeah, you remember Mike Amos?
Yeah, you remember Mike Amos.
Remember stuff?
You've got a memory about as good as he does. We're having fun with this, though, because these are former transfers. People say you can't win with transfers. Well, Troy sure could. Probably one of the great transfers of all time was a running back out of Early County, Georgia. Mike, you remember him?
Early County, Georgia.
Yeah, the running back. Played at Auburn.
I mean, I mentioned Ted Yarborough.
Oh, Yarborough. I'm sorry. Well, you did it so fast I couldn't write it down. Ted Yarborough. Of course, we had a pretty good quarterback, but now he just transferred from junior college. Now we have had a lot of those.
You talking about Kelvin Simmons?
Kelvin Simmons. If they don't put Kevin Simmons in the Hall of Fame, they ought to quit. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those you ought to quit. They finally put our guy from Atlanta in there. You know that, don't you?
Daryl Thomas.
Yeah, Daryl Thomas. Boy, how good would Daryl Thomas be today, Mike? A guy that can shoot it.
He was an all-SEC guy playing in Troy. There's no doubt about that.
And he could shoot it. I mean, and he was a great three-point shooter, and he could just shoot you out of the gym.
And he was a big guy, too. He's about 6'4", about 220 pounds.
As good as Person was, and I just love that guy. Great player, great team player. Everything about him was a great player. But, hey, this guy was better than him. Did you know that?
There's no doubt. If Daryl Thomas would have played all 4 years, he would have had the scoring record.
He was really, really good. And
all right, here's the Troy football coaching staff and their actual positions they'll be coaching. Chip Lindsey, of course, is the head coach. Brian Blackman moves to special teams coordinator and running backs coach, so he's going to coach running backs at Troy. Yeah. Your cornerbacks coach is going to be Ray Brown. Assistant head coach and inside receivers coach will be John Carr.
Yeah, I like him.
Defensive coordinator and safeties coach will be Brandon Hall. And then this is interesting. This is a good reason these guys probably stayed. Bam Harmon goes from coaching, I think he coached linebackers last year. He is now the defensive run game coordinator, so he's got a coordinator title.
So, yeah, we make more money.
Outside linebackers and bandits is what Bam Harmon's going to coach.
Yeah.
Your offense coordinator will be Ryan Pugh. He coaches the offensive line.
Boy, I like him. He's a young coach, Mike. He's just 29 years old, but boy, he's
four-time starter at Auburn. Inside linebackers will be Andrew Warwick. Tight ends and S-backs will be Cole Weeks. And then this is another coordinator position given to Cornelius Williams. Passing game coordinator is what Cornelius Williams will be. Outside receivers.
Yeah.
Defensive line will be Davern Williams. Assistant AD football operations E.K. Franks. Director of recruiting will be Dwayne Brown. Director of Player Personnel, High School Relations will be David Faulkner, the former Enterprise coach.
I really like David Faulkner, and he's going to help us get some players.
Head strength and conditioning coach will be Jason Finley. Yeah. Director of Player Development will be Jamal Smith. So that's your coaches for Troy.
Yeah. But I tell you what, they got a bunch of new ones. I think only 4 were left off the staff, the football staff.
Yeah, and, you're right. Well, I've been watching some West Virginia video, and Neil Brown took, I think, 12 guys from Troy. Now, some of them weren't on the field coaches, but a lot of them were. A lot of them were on the field coaches, but he took a lot of off the field coaches as well.
No question about it.
So he was very, very loyal to the people that worked for him.
Sure was, and they made big salaries too. You know, it's just like, gosh, going to work with a young company, and you're the president and CEO, and you hire these guys, and then this guy gets hired, this big president of the company and CEO gets hired at a big position, and he brings those guys with him. It's no different in football and whatever. College football is a big business, and there are some huge salaries that are, you look at
you just can't pass up a big time opportunity. I mean, you're talking about doubling and tripling your salaries.
What is Troy paying their new head coach? Do you know?
They haven't been released yet. We'll have to see. So we'll be able to see what everybody makes.
All right. Do you know what the buyout?
The question is, what are they going to pay the new basketball coach? Because Maestri, I don't know what he made. I know he didn't make anywhere close to what they paid Cunningham, and Cunningham was making about, I think, $280,000 when they hired him. I don't know how much he made when they gave him the contract extension, but you know, Troy probably plays a basketball coach for around $350,000 now.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. And now another thing.
Avery Johnson, that's the reason he got fired at Alabama. He was making $3 million.
Oh, that was
He's one
crazy.
of the top 15 coaches paid in the country.
Well, let me ask this: what was his buyout, Mike? $6 million.
The buyout was $6 to $8 million, so he at least got that.
Well, you talk about smiling all the way to the bank. Man, quit everything and go.
I don't know if you read his comments. I'd have to find them, but you know, he was very gracious in firing and talked about how great the opportunity was and how much he enjoyed the experience in Alabama and how great the fans were and how great the students were.
Y'all are wonderful. Y'all are wonderful. Y'all are all wonderful. Y'all are wonderful. Just give me my $6 to $8 million and I'll go and I'll buy a place at the beach.
The guy already played in the NBA for 16 years and was the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks and the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets.
So he's a very wealthy guy, isn't he?
He's very wealthy, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I'll be honest with you, from what I hear, as a people person, he was incredible. You know, he just wasn't a very good coach on the court.
Yeah. Well, they need to go out and get some big name people.
They need to go get a guy that you know, the fans can rally around and the fans will support. They really didn't have that since the Wimp days.
Yeah.
I think they kind of started buying into Mark Gothard a little bit.
Yeah, no question about it.
There's no doubt that Mark Gothard could recruit. I just don't know if he's a great
coach. All right, let me tell you now. Where is Mark Godfrey now?
Mark Gothard's done now. He just came out in the NCAA investigations. They have
really?
recorded paying a player.
Yeah, you know, I know if our old AD was there, he'd probably be the man, wouldn't he?
You talking about Hartwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, they played together at UMS back in high school, I think.
Well, it's going to be who are some good young coaches out there?
I'm excited about the Troy, you know, potential coaching hire. You know, I mean, it's definitely one of those type things. Cunningham replaced the legend, you know, and that's always tough to do. Of course, you know, Maestri didn't have great teams at the very end by any means, but it's one of those situations where it's tough to replace a guy that had been there for 31 years.
Let me tell you this: no better man has coached here or walked the sidewalks here than Don Maestri. Great man, great man.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then I'd put Coach Blakeney and Don Maestri neck and neck when it comes to that.
They're great people. You know, people. All right, you take Larry Blakeney. Somebody asked me about him this weekend. You know how he's doing, and I think he's doing fine. Larry Blakeney was not what you call a great X's and O's coach. He hired people to do that and did a great job. He was a people coach, and that's who you coach. You coach people, young men that's got a heart and comes from a family, some good and some bad. You know, he was a man that cared about his players, and he always, over and over and over, he always says, players win games. Don't you agree?
No, yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Do you think Saban?
Down to it, I mean, as a kid growing up, like in Troy, and of course he was our neighbor and stuff like that, but just the way he treated everybody as soon as he got there, I mean, there was no ego whatsoever. I mean, he was just a down-to-earth, just great guy.
And he's
a guy that still to this day will come up and give you a hug.
Oh,
you know, if you see him anywhere.
Well, he was the kind of guy, if he was riding down the road, instead of passing you by, he would stop and say hello and then move on down the road. That's a sign of a good neighbor. And I tell you, Larry Blakeney.
Let's just be honest. I mean, anybody in the country knows he took the fall for all that Auburn stuff. The 60 Minutes stuff that came out. I mean,
loyalty.
He never shied away from that. I mean,
he
could have, you know, basically tried to hide from that, and he was out in the public and, you know, accepted what had happened. But you know, if that doesn't happen to him, no telling what he would have done in an SEC school somewhere.
Yeah, no question about it. And I'll say this right now, and they talk about.
I mean, I think Maestri had a few times to leave. You know, he could have gone and took the Southern Miss job a few times. I've heard.
I tell you, he was a great coach.
That's where he was a graduate from. He was a graduate from Southern Miss.
And Felix was a great coach, and you know, I would wonder sometimes how good a head coach David Felix might have made. I know this: he was a great player. Whoa. He was one of the great shooters we ever had here at Troy, Mike, and the best free throw shooter we ever had. And back when they coached at Troy, they'd make those guys beat David shooting free throws. But he's coaching down at a little school in Florida and enjoying life.
Yeah, he's right down the road from me in Freeport.
Most of these people that we're talking about,
what he's doing now is called double dipping.
Oh yeah, exactly. He coached here 30-some years, and his wife, beautiful lady and great teacher. We're talking about transfers that really had an impact at Troy. Most of these guys were signed by Larry Blayton. Larry Blayton, he told me point blank that the best football player coach was Kevin Simmons, and he coached a lot of good ones, you know. He was
I would say one of the greatest games ever in Troy history was a tie.
That's right. I remember that.
Simmons brought him back against Central State of Ohio.
I think we were down 21-0, something like that.
Yeah, Hugh Douglas, who was a top 10 pick, and then another guy that was top 15 pick. They were in NIA school playing Troy for some crazy reason.
They were out of Ohio. There was Central State of Ohio. That's exactly what it was. And they could beat anybody. And, of course, you know, they could recruit. Their rules were different, and they looked like a pro team coming in here. Mike, there was a kick returner, and he played wide receiver that played at Auburn. What was his name? That played at Troy. Yeah, good. A kick returner. I want to say he's from Gadsden.
Oh, yeah, Andy Swafford.
All right, look here. This computer continues to work. Ladies and gentlemen,
Andy Swafford's a really good guy.
When you get old and decrepit like me and your brain is deteriorating, it's good to have a computer, a guy with a computer.
Hey, I'm talking to Mikey.
Right. Hey, Mary Prater. Hey, darling.
Hey, Mikey.
Hey.
How you doing? What are you doing this morning, Mary Prater?
Just sleep.
Do you like do you like living in Florida?
Yeah, she does. She loves it. She loves the beach.
Oh, that's great. Mike, but you can go on and on and on about these players. You know, Hogabook was a junior college guy, but you look at these guys that he was able to bring in here.
I mean, Troy had a guy 2 years ago that was an Auburn defensive back that transferred in and played 2 years. Cameron Melton was a good player.
Oh yeah, no question about it.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, we have to go back and look, but I mean, I'm sure we can name a lot more.
Oh yeah, no question about it. And of course,
that's a guy that was a great player that played only 1 year, and then he played 10 years in the pros. Was a guy from Ole Miss named Leonard Wheeler.
Yeah, he sure was. Leonard Wheeler was a great player, no question about it. And I remember when he came here, and you know, we've had a bunch that have come in here, and we're good citizens too. How about that big old boy that transferred from Kansas, Mike? Huge guy, red-headed guy.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. He played with the Titans on that Super Bowl team.
He and KT Cole were big buddies.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank.
But of course, he went on and played in the pros and was a great player. And we've had some good ones. And of course, you know, they say, well, you got transfers. Well, the rules permitted you to bring in transfers. They bring in transfers now.
Out of here. I mean, it's basically what Jacksonville State's doing now to get all their great players.
Yeah, they can play right away, you know, and you don't. Some situations, see, these guys have got to graduate from a junior college before they're eligible to play in a Division I program. And that's how a lot of these schools get these good players. These kids don't graduate from that junior college. Did you know that?
It'll be interesting to see what Richard McBride does. I know he's willing to transfer, and I think he's graduated from Auburn. I'm not 100% sure, but if he's graduated,
I want to say he might have 2 years. If he had 2 years, yeah, I want to say he might.
Because I know he was going to be a redshirt senior at Auburn.
Yeah, no question about it. But Mike, that's good to bring out those. Let's look at some people that have been sort of a waste, a total waste. And when I think about this, I think of this player who played at Charles Henderson High School was sort of a waste because he was so much better than he ended up being in college. And that is Ronaldo Cinque Pennington. He was the fastest man on the team. He ran 4.28 in the 40.
Well, I mean, he admitted, I talked to him a couple of years ago, and he said that, you know, the system he played for at Auburn was just not a good fit, playing for Terry Bowden.
He should have gone and played with a tailback offense, a guy that he'd get the ball and be able to run it 25, 30 times a game. You ask anybody from Elba, ask anybody from Opp, anybody from Andalusia, anybody that ever had to play against him in high school.
I asked Blunt. He ran 2 touchdowns against Blunt for 90 yards.
Well, and he gained 300 yards on him. He had 300 yards against Elba 2 years in a row, and he had 300 yards against Opp. He was so fast that it was like he was playing with a bunch of boys. He was a man playing with a bunch of boys.
You know, his junior year, though, he was only playing on one leg. He got a severe knee injury, and a lot of people didn't even think he was going to come back and play the rest of the season. But I
tell you, another thing, he was a very decent young man. He was a fine young man.
He's a great guy. He's a guy that, I mean, he's at Smith Station, and everybody in the school loves him, and it doesn't matter what happens with coaching changes or anything. He always has a job.
Yeah, no question about it. And, you know, I call him.
He's a guy that I really think if he would have been in the right situation, especially with the spread offenses like today,
would have been a great player at Troy.
He would have been an unbelievable player out of the backfield.
Mike, he would have been a great player at Troy. You know, something else he could do, like you said, if you had to, you could play him in defense or play him on safety because he would kill. Oh, man, he would hit you. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
We always say, you know, he just was a part of a lot of those Charles Henderson teams that played only everybody one way.
Yeah.
He's a guy that definitely could have played both ways the whole game.
He was a great one, and, of course, a good person. And he went on to Auburn. He was the first player signed by
Terry Bowden.
Terry Bowden. He was the first player signed from him. Let me tell you a little story. Allison, the offensive coordinator, running backs coach at Auburn, visited Charles Henderson High School to recruit or to look at Cinque Pending. They were playing Greenville in the stadium, and the game had just started. For some reason, either on a fumble or a bad pitch or penalty, put them back at the 2-yard line. And on the next play, Ronaldo, Cinque Pennington, this was one of the great Greenville teams now, ran it right up the gut, and then they started trying to catch him. They came from both sides and angles trying to catch him. He ran straight up the field. I know you probably remember this. Straight up the field, 98 yards for a touchdown, and Rodney Allison went and got in his truck and drove back to Auburn. He saw one play C.K. Pennington made. He said, that's all I had to see. And he was just so much faster than everybody else. Isn't that right?
I mean, he was an offensive lineman's dream. I mean, trust me, Charles Henderson, offensive lineman, you maybe had to hold your block for 2 to 3 seconds, and he was gone.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, he was gone.
I mean, he's a guy that, I mean, basically could have played at 7A high school and done the same thing. You know, he was at a I guess a mid-sized
school. Well, I know this. I've seen him take over ball games, and he was a great one, and no question about it.
Charles Henderson ran the wishbone, you know, so, I mean, I can't imagine that they would have thrown the ball to him out of the backfield more.
Yeah. And another thing, out of the wishbone, see, it was designed for him to run to the right. Very rarely did they ever kind of cross buck or misdirection play where he could, you know, so they knew where he was coming. They knew where he was going to be running.
The thing is about it, you know, Cinque, a lot of people don't realize he had a guy that was a blocking back that was a back that could have played college ball, probably, in my opinion, and a dear friend, of course, we lost him a few years ago back, Rodney Williams.
Oh, yeah. Boy, how good was he?
As you could ever imagine blocking for him.
Yeah, and I coached him.
That was one of the few guys on the team that could actually run with Cinque.
Yeah, that's right. He was a great player. James Lucas did a great job with him in the Pee Wee ranks, and we had to play against him.
He was the ultimate Pee Wee player because all you had to do was pitch it to him, and he would score.
Yeah, you know, at one time Daniel Wilson was he used to outrun everybody. You remember that?
I'll say this. I mean, Cinque, we played him I think 3 times that year, and every single time it came down to like the last possession of the game, and like, I mean, you know, a few times Richard could catch him, But if he got outside, nobody was going to catch him.
Yeah, I know it, and that's why. And all you had to do is say 6K right and 6K left. That's all you had to do. Mike Hall coached him in
it's
junior.
funny. I coached a termite league, Pee-wee league in college with Britt Baker and another buddy of mine named Chad Jones, and they used to laugh at me. But every time we scored on a double reverse because kids that age just don't know how to defend a play like that.
No,
the play I put in. Because we had a guy that was faster than everybody else out there, and every single time he'd score on double reverse.
That's right. I remember it well. I can remember one time on a double reverse, we had a guy going wide open, nobody around him, 20 yards around him, and his pants started falling off. His pants started falling down, and he was trying to get his pants up, and I said, "Oh God, they gonna catch him." And I think he finally was able to make it to the end zone, and they tackled him right there at the end zone, but he scored. But I had to bring him over to the sideline. And I took some tape and just taped the pants on him, you know.
Yeah, I remember.
Said that it's going to be hard for you to go to the bathroom if you need to go to the bathroom or whatever. But that's what it was, and we had some great memories with those kids, and you know, I can still.
I would never say Sinclair did. I mean, his career. I mean, he started 4 years at Auburn and had some good runs against LSU one night, and I think caught a few big passes, you know. I mean, I think he played in an SEC championship game.
Yeah, he did. Well, I know it. 2 different spring games, he was the leading rusher for a long time.
McBride at Auburn, you know, I mean, a lot of people don't realize McBride got recruited heavily by Alabama and Kirby Smart. Yeah. I mean, Kirby Smart came down several times. A lot of people thought he was going to go to Alabama.
McBride was a great player.
He ended up signing with Auburn and hadn't been able to see the field, unfortunately.
I tell you what, people will laugh at
other than special teams.
Brian could have played on offense if he'd wanted to. He could run, but
But then you have Zach Etheridge out of Charles Henderson that played at Auburn, and he was a phenomenal player.
And you know what? They didn't start playing him on offense until later on in his career. I remember against Enterprise, he gained about 200 yards one time against Enterprise. You know, he was really a good running back, but they played him mostly at defensive back, didn't they?
Yeah, but you had also the white kid that played at Charles Henderson and went to Auburn. He had all kinds of injury issues.
Yeah, no question about it.
What was his name, Ra-Ra or something?
Yeah, Ra-Ra. Yeah, Ra-Ra was a good player too. And
Charles Henderson's had a lot of kids go to Auburn.
Yeah, they have. But you know, there's been some good ones, and a lot of kids were a lot of fun to watch. We're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office.
Schools right now, so
back to our show, and all you folks out there on break. It is a full week of spring break. Boy, don't you remember some of the great times you had going to Florida during the spring? You remember that?
Oh yeah, spring break and beach week and riding up and down the strip.
Yeah. People can't understand why I like to ride up.
People didn't realize how crazy it was. We'd literally jump out of cars and jump into cars with a bunch of girls, and then we'd hope we'd run into our buddies later on that night down the strip so we could jump back in our cars.
Yeah. Well, it was always a lot of fun, and of course, you know,
this week in golf, you got the World Golf Championship Dell Technologies match play in Austin, Texas, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Now, a lot of folks, a lot of the big guys probably will not play in this event because they're all getting ready for the Masters. Is that right?
Yeah, a lot of them love the match play because it's a World Golf Championship, so all the big boys will be playing in the World Golf Championship.
So this is a match play deal?
You'll have the Blair Texas Open, and then April 11th through the 14th, you'll have the Masters.
All right, so it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks then for the Masters.
2 weeks away.
So that's going to be fun. And, of course, right now, if you had to probably... I'd
go Roy.
Yeah, McIlroy.
I go Roy or Dustin Johnson to win the Masters.
Dustin Johnson.
Because it's a bomber's course.
Yeah. You know, I know Dustin is the #1 player in the world, but gosh, I don't know. You just don't know.
He has no personality.
You just don't know what he's going to do, you know. You know who is good at the Masters is your buddy Usain. What's his name, the foreigner? Usain?
Yeah, Louis Oosthuizen.
Louis Oosthuizen always plays that well. He's won it one time, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's from South America.
And now Bubba
he's from South Africa.
Yeah, my favorite golfer is Bubba Watson. I like Bubba Watson, and he's won it twice, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
And then of course, I'm sure there. Yeah, I was right about Furyk. Do you remember me telling you watch out for Furyk? You sort of laughed at me. Furyk plays that course down there pretty good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
But it's going to be a lot of fun. And I look down this list of golfers, ladies and gentlemen, and there are so many new names. Does somebody become eligible every week or on the tour? Or how does that work?
What do you mean eligible?
Can you join the tour or qualify?
You basically you get 25 guys from the Nationwide Tour every year, and then everybody else has to. The top 125.
So you can't just go and qualify for a PGA tournament and play in. Is that right?
I mean, you can be a guy that maybe played on the tour and it doesn't have exempt status. Maybe could be a substitute.
Your buddy Graham McDowell is sort of on hard times right now.
He's done. Yeah, he doesn't do anything anymore.
What was his problem? He didn't hit it a long ways. What was the deal?
I think some guys make all the money and just don't,
Garcia, you can't count on him to win many tournaments. He's a showman.
I mean, you got to look at Tiger Woods, though, and Mickelson. They play the Masters great as well. So, I mean, those are guys you got to look at. I mean, I would say, a guy like Jordan Spieth, even though he's not playing very well, he's a guy you got to think about. He plays well at Augusta.
And how many Georgia golfers are out there? Didn't you say you counted 6 the other day that played at the University of Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 from Alabama out there playing.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed our show today. And, Mike, we appreciate you calling in and giving us all this insight on what's going on in sports. And, ladies and gentlemen, the show will be back on at 1:30 this afternoon. And we look forward to seeing you bright and early in the morning for Today in L.A. live on Troy Cablevision.